Before we grew hops, we grew traditional row crops, corn, soybeans, and then we were looking for a way to specialize because we're a small farm. And we had some areas where we weren't growing traditional crops, and the hops looked like it was a good crop to fit in that area, and the craft beer market was starting to come about in the Miami Valley. When we first started to think about growing hops, we did a lot of research. What we didn't want to do was invest the time and the money and then not succeed at it. And once we decided it was something we wanted to do, we jumped all in.
Most of the hops in America are grown in Oregon and Washington and Idaho. The problem with a popular Ohio hop is supply. There's only so much acreage in Ohio. There's a giant demand, and it's very marketable to grow hops. It's cost and labor intensive to get a hop farm off the ground. There's a tremendous market that could be tapped into and lots of acreage that could be used to grow hops in Ohio and that would easily be sold.
Part of the research that we did before we started to grow the hops was to visit with some breweries to find out if they were interested in buying hops that were grown in Ohio. We also wanted to know which varieties that they would buy.
I connected with Jamie when he stopped by the pub one day to talk to me and introduced himself, and I was very interested in what he had to say. The whole local movement isn't just beer. We see it across the board with food. Locally sourced ingredients are huge right now, so hops are only a natural progression.
Today there are over 150 craft breweries in Ohio. Most of the smaller and newer craft breweries that are opening are very focused on using local ingredients. Their consumers are asking them to brew beers with local ingredients, whether it's hops, whether it's barley that's grown in Ohio or barley that's malted in Ohio. There's various flavors that go into beers that can be grown in Ohio. So a lot of it's being driven by the craft beer consumer. And then what that does is provide an opportunity for us as producers to grow those things. Most Ohio growers, the financial investment to grow an acre of hops is between $13,000 and $15,000 per acre. So it's a significant investment. Hops are a challenging crop to grow, and so our learning curve was somewhat steep. And so learning about what we need to do to grow quality hops took some time, and not everything that we did worked the first time. So we learned a lot the first year, we learned a lot the second year. We're still learning things that we can do better. But when you go to start a hop yard, the first thing you do is you build a trellis system. The hops want to grow vertically, straight up. So we built a trellis system when the cables are at about 20 feet high. And each year we drop a string down to each plant, and the plant grows up the string. And at the end of the summer, we cut the string down and pick the cones off of the plant. And since it's a perennial, the plant grows back and we start the process over. It takes about 5 months. 1 acre of hops would be around 1,000 plants. And when they reach their maturity at 3 years, they should be producing around 1 pound of dry hops per plant. So you would get 1,000 pounds of dry hops per acre.
We did our first collaboration last year with 30 pounds of his hops grown on his farm. And this year we used 40. With our Fresh Opportunity beer that we produced with Jamie, we also used some Ohio malted barley. There are hundreds of different varieties of hops, and each have a specific set of characteristics between aroma and flavor. We use 4 varieties of hops from Jamie. We use Cascade, that can be kind of citrusy. We use Centennial, the Super Cascade. We use Zeus, they're pungent. They are typically higher in alpha acid. Alpha acid is the level of bitterness that it will contribute to a beer. And we use Chinook, which is piney. All together, you get nice fruity, a little bit bitter, bready, nice hoppy beer. The fresh hops that we get here in Ohio are probably account for 5 or 10% of our overall. But we hope to grow it as Jamie grows. The more years go by, the more he will produce. I think it's very marketable to have a fresh or wet hop, locally sourced beer. Customers do care. They want to know where their ingredients come from. They want to know their brewer. They want to know their hop grower.
Most of the hop farms in Ohio started in the last 5 or 6 years, Each year, 5 to 10 new hop farms come online. Today, there's probably 50 hop farms in Ohio, and most of them are under 5 acres. A large number are even under 1 acre. So today, Ohio hop growers are supplying roughly 3 to 5% of the hops that Ohio is consuming. And so, as far as demand goes, the sky's the limit. The problem is growing that many hops that soon. And so what we need are more hop yards, larger hop yards, 5, 10, 20 acre hop yards to come to Ohio so we can meet the demand of the Ohio craft breweries. From the time that we began growing the hops, one of the things I always was curious would be how it will taste in beer. And it was about 2 years from the time we planted the hop yard until we went to the Fifth Street Brew Pub to taste their fresh hop beer. And it was really a unique experience to see everyone enjoying this beer that we had spent all this time hoping it would turn out okay. It was a neat experience.